on Saints GM Mickey Loomis on the quarterback room, working with Kellen Moore, and this is at the 2025 Saints Hall of Fame Celebrity Golf Classic. All right, ladies and gentlemen, a couple of interviews have come out from a golf tournament. Mickey Loomis, Kellen Moore, Spencer Rattler, a couple of the other fellas. But Mickey's always gets a lot of talk because Mickey's a polarizing figure. So we're going to go ahead and take a listen to what Mickey has to say here. The goatee is back, which always is a good look. So, Mickey, take it away.
Obviously, people are going to be monitoring the quarterback situation with your team all year just because of the lack of veteran. And just you've been around a lot of these players for a long time. How do you respond to this, if there is a narrative or if it even exists, that like some veteran players will think, well, if they don't bring in an established veteran, then what is the urgency to winning this year, even as my career is kind of getting up in years?
I don't understand this part. I don't understand the idea that bringing in a veteran shows any kind of agency or that we're trying to win, or that, like, what is bringing in Teddy Bridgewater or Carson Wentz or Jameis Winston or whoever, how does that change anything? Like, unless you think they are going to win the starting job and they are that much better than the quarterbacks in the quarterback room, but if they're that much better than the quarterbacks in the quarterback room, you have a totally different problem. All right, so the only argument I can understand for bringing in a veteran is the idea of like, well, it's a young room, so whoever is in there probably would benefit from having someone just kind of show them the ropes or whatever. But them showing them the ropes or whatever doesn't change the narrative of how much they're trying to win. So I understand the vet thing, but I don't understand the reasoning that a lot of people are saying. Like, having Joe Flacco in the room is beneficial to Tyler Shough, Hunter Deckers, or Spencer Rattler. Having Joe Flacco in the room being a mentor doesn't change the win trajectory at all for the veterans that are there.
You know, like the veterans across the roster.
Yeah, I mean, I haven't heard that. I think every veteran and every player on our team just focused on being the best player they can be and us being the best team we can be. So, I haven't heard anybody express that.
And I'll say this with Mickey, or even with that line of questioning. It's like that, like hearing something from the facility, or even like one of my videos that we're reacting to, or whatever, wherever you hear it, that doesn't mean it has any truth at all. Like, it doesn't mean it's a factor. It doesn't mean it's something they're factoring in. And so when I hear, like, if I'm Mickey and I hear that question, I'm like, that's not even a factor, which is basically what his answer was. Like, that's not even a concern, not even a thought, not even anything at all. All right. So sometimes the questions, and I'm not saying that was a bad question, but sometimes the questions, that might be the first time that Mickey has heard that theory at all. And he's mid round here. Like, he's trying to shoot, he's worried about his next shot. And he hears that theory for the first time. It's like, man, I mean, might as well ask me about Bigfoot or the Loch Ness Monster.
Can we ask about Derek, the situation? Obviously, not that you want to give us every detail, but we haven't talked to you since the retirement announcement, just how it unfolded and you all reaching an amicable agreement.
Yeah, I mean, I think we've said everything that we need to say on that.
Yeah, I mean, I think, too, this Derek Carr thing, I mean, the news cycle has kind of passed by and it's over, and I have no interest in talking about Derek Carr or rehashing the situation. I think we've talked about it at length. It happened. It was the biggest story in the NFL, probably, certainly the biggest story for the Saints. But in today's day and age, like, you have a 4 or 5 day news cycle for stories like that, and then you're on to the next one. And that's for me. That's for someone in content creation. All right, that's for the face of the franchise. For Mickey, it's even shorter, right? Like, for the team, why talk about Derek Carr? Why talk about, what are you going to say, right? You're going to say good things, which mean nothing. You're going to say bad things, which do nothing. At that point, I think it's definitely worth a question from the reporter, because like he said, the first time they've heard from Mickey since then, but it is just kind of is what it is. And, I talked about that very quickly about in a video. I was talking about where Derek's news came down on a Saturday morning. Well, that puts a lot of stations and publications and whatever in a tricky position, because let's say you have a radio station on, whatever, just a normal radio station, Monday through Friday, whatever time slot you want to give it. You have to wait a couple days to talk about it. Like, that's a huge story. And so you're kind of like a couple days behind, and same with like WDSU or whatever, where their Monday evening or Monday evening broadcast or their Monday paper or their Tuesday paper and all that, like they've got to kind of catch up in the coverage. So by the time they get to ask their questions, right, this guy says the first time they've heard from Mickey since. And it's been over a week. All right, so it shows you just kind of how fast the news cycle is. And it also shows you, ladies and gentlemen, why bad news gets pushed on Fridays and Saturdays. Because by the time the news cycle comes back around, it's already washed out.
What do you think about a young quarterback room? Like, essentially everybody's really young.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're young. It's a young group, enthusiastic. There's talent there, and I think we got a great coaching staff. I mean, we got 3 former quarterbacks, with Kellen, with Doug Nussmeier, and with Scott in the room with them. So I think that's a good mix.
And for Kellen,
I love the quarterback situation. I mean, I really do. Like, I think I would so much rather this situation of Hunter Deckers, Spencer Rattler, Tyler Shough. I would so much rather that than Tyler Shough, Jameis Winston, and Joe Flacco. It's like, because you already know what some are. You already know what some are. There's no ceiling. There's no excitement. There's no true quarterback battle. All your eggs are in one basket. But the way the quarterback room is in New Orleans right now, it's just such an every rep, every quarter, every second of camp, preseason, all of that is worth watching. It's worth talking about. It's interesting. That's just whether they work out or not. But I love the gumption that Kellen and Mickey and whoever else in the decision makers that they went with and said, you know what? Let's go all in on trying to figure this thing out. And that's totally different than the Garrett Grayson, Ian Book, Jake Haener situation, because those guys are never expected to play. The guys that are in that room right now, the 3 that we just talked about, Deckers, Rattler, and Shough, those 3 are going to be put into a competition. It is going to be reality TV. It is a season of The Bachelor. Like, one of them will walk out. One of them will be the starter. One of them will win that job. Now, will the other play during the season? Maybe. Who knows? But it's a fair shake of we're throwing 3 darts at the wall and we're hoping one sticks.
And he's getting an opportunity to mold it into his own in that too. What's your thoughts on that?
Yeah, listen, that's I think that needs to unfold, number one. But look, he's had success as a quarterback. He understands the position. He understands what he needs to ask from these guys at the stage of their career, and so I'm anxious and enthusiastic about seeing how it unfolds.
Mickey, is it possible that after OTAs and minicamp play out, you'll be able to make a smarter decision about whether to bring in a veteran or not after you've seen all of these young guys?
Well, I don't know what that means. I think
Oh, man. The king of the universe, my guy. Mickey hit him with a brother. What are you talking about? I mean, that was unreal. I might have to clip that as a GIF. I mean, that right there. Do y'all say GIF or GIF, ladies and gentlemen? I tell you what, I don't say giraffe. You know what I'm saying? Look at this.
Well, I don't know what that means. I think I always make smart decisions. They don't always work out.
I didn't say you did. I'm just saying. I mean, you'll have more information after watching.
Do you want to have more information?
Yeah, I think that's a good question. And I really can't answer that other than...
I think right now, like you said, I'm not going to say it, but I think as of right now, the Saints are not planning on adding a vet. I think they're cool with the locker room, and they're cool with what they got going on. Now, risky business, for sure. Tom Cruise sliding across the foyer. That's risky, but I think they like what they have going on, and I think they are trusting those coaches, and they're looking around saying, we got vets. We got Nussmeier, we have Tolzien, and we have Kellen Moore. We have a 26-year-old rookie quarterback. We got Rattler, who's an experienced player. He went through a lot in his career, played last year. We have other veterans that aren't quarterbacks on the team. We're going to take a risk.
And then just to say, look, we're always at every position looking to see if there's a way we can improve. And so I don't look at that any differently than I would look at our linebacker room,
Yeah, it's
or
all the same.
our DB room, or any position. If there's an opportunity for us to improve, then we're going to look to take it.
How much do you look forward to this aspect of the offseason calendar, OTAs coming up, on the field?
Oh,
Yeah,
man, can't
I
wait.
think we look forward to the whole offseason. It's a chance to make an impact, and I think one thing as a GM, as a personnel guy, our personnel department, I think in season sometimes you feel a little bit helpless.
I mean, very true. I mean, once the season is going, the season is going. You only have so many people you can call, so many moves you can make. It kind of is what it is. And we saw that last year with the injuries that we had. It's like, what are you supposed to do? You're supposed to just go find some guy who's not on a team? Like, what's the chances that they're available and do they fit the system? And then, so yeah, this is the time. Well, free agency, the draft, that's the time to do so. That's the time to make the big moves. Now, once the season gets started, kind of got to play with the pieces that are already on the chessboard.
That's in the hands of the coaches and players, and so in the off season is when we can make an impact, and so we're trying to do that.
Just had one follow-up. You've been in the league a long time. You've seen a lot of different situations. Is this one of the more unique, strange, crazy situations you've dealt with a quarterback maybe in his prime or in his 30s that just decided to part ways?
Yeah, well, look, he was injured, so we've had, I've been around a long time, so there's not many things that I haven't seen. You have injuries that come up and things that you may not think are that serious at one time that end up becoming serious. So from that aspect, I would say it's not rare, but it doesn't happen very often. And so you get curveballs in this game all the time, and this is one that we have to deal with.
Insane. I mean, the Derek Carr situation, the injury, anybody, even when Calvin Johnson retired, when Patrick Willis retired, when any of those guys who retired seemingly in their, even Andrew Luck, it's like, wow, wild. But then you forget they're human beings, and you forget that they have hundreds of millions of dollars in the bank. And you forget that, it sucks doing two-a-days, and you forget that, it sucks running wind sprints in 115-degree heat, right? So, if you had $200 million or whatever, then I probably wouldn't go to training camp either. So, especially you got a bunch of kids and a family at home. Yeah, pretty nice to go that route as well. So, I mean, it's always shocking initially. Shocking with Andrew Luck, shocking with Calvin Johnson, shocking with Patrick Willis, shocking. Fun fact, when Facebook first started, I was Facebook friends with Patrick Willis. He's from Mississippi. I'm from Mississippi. A bunch of us. I never met him, but a bunch. I remember his profile picture. He was wearing a pink polo. Still remember it. Yeah. But and anyone from Mississippi around 2005, 2006, 2007 probably was Facebook friends with Patrick Willis. But different time, ladies and gentlemen.
Anything stand out about the schedule that was just released last week?
Well, we don't have any primetime games, so that's what the league thinks of us, and that's fine. There's a lot about the schedule that I really like. And we knew who we were going to play, just a matter of when and where, and I kind of like the way it laid out.
Do you like?
Well, there you go. I mean, Mickey, that's the most honest he's been in maybe any answer ever. But he does not like the fact that they aren't playing on prime time, and he does not like the fact that that's what the league thinks of him. And he's telling you that the league made that decision because they think the Saints will be no good. So, very interesting, because you always wonder, like, what are the factors that go into primetime selection? How does that all play out? And Mickey's basically telling you, a big factor is that they think we're going to suck. So, interesting. Now, I've said this before and I'll say it again. It is my show. But I think it's a benefit. It obviously sucks, like from a fan and a vet and a player, whatever, like to not play on prime time. But from a strategery situation, it's pretty sweet to not have to worry about short weeks, to not have to worry about upsetting your schedule and all that. You can just kind of do the same thing over and over for a full season and get everybody on the same page. There's a huge benefit to that. And there's only a couple teams that don't have primetime games. I think it's 3 or 4. And the Saints are one of them for the first time in a long time. So
Like that, though, maybe, I mean, I think it's a cliche, but can you use it as motivation?
Yeah, I think you can. Yes,
Yeah, for sure.
absolutely. Look, we're used to playing in prime
bulletin
time right
board
over
material.
the years, and but we had 5 wins last year, so we can't really complain about it.
yeah.
We got to go out and perform and earn those opportunities.
Did that surprise you a lot, though? I guess because until a few years ago, everyone had to have at least one primetime game.
That surprised me. Yeah, I think it surprised me a little bit.
It surprised me for 2 reasons. One, because the Superdome is good for primetime. I think some stadiums just kind of fit primetime. I think the Superdome is one of them. And 2, because the Saints do have one of the better-known rivalries in the NFL with the Falcons. So I'm surprised that one of those games wasn't on primetime, especially young quarterbacks, the Kellen Moore thing, whether it's the Superdome or up in Atlanta. But either one of those, I thought for sure one of those 2 games would be put on primetime. That just makes sense for me. Yeah.
How's your game, by the way?
My golf game, it depends on the day.
Depends on the
It's really
hole.
good if I have good partners.
And I have one more quarterback question. I know it could work out great with one of these young guys, but is it unusual to have a whole quarterback room? I know it's unusual, but I guess could you kind of put it in perspective where there isn't currently, I don't think there's currently one regular season win among that whole group as a starter?
Yeah.
Could you just give some perspective on how you view that as not a problem or whatever?
Well, we'll see. We'll see. But I don't think that that's rare, and I think there's been lots of quarterback rooms around the league over the years where they've got a young group and they got to develop them, and I wouldn't say it's.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's one of those things that sounds kind of crazy when it's like, well, there's not a win in the room. It's okay, well, sure, but what does that really like? How do you quantify that? Because at some point there will be. So then it just all goes away, or you can say that about any rookie quarterback. Like for example, Cam Ward. Does it really matter that he doesn't have an NFL win? And you can say, oh well, the people in the room do. Does that really matter? Like, does it matter that his backups have, if their combined record, his backups is like 4 for 25, and if that's like the quarterback room, is 4 for 25 really that much different than 0 for 13 or whatever the Saints is? It's a grabby headline, but I don't think you can really put too much into it, too much stock, So, because like I said, you can say that for any rookie until they win, right? So, sounds cool, but not too much substance to that.
Ideal,
narrative.
but that's the hand we've got dealt with us right now.
Given the timeline of obviously, Derek leaving and the quarterback room getting that much younger, if you were to add, someone else, another veteran for the room, what would the timeline of that be? What would go into kind of that process?
I mean, you got to do it. I mean, it depends on the vet, I guess, but I would think you'd have to do it kind of leading up into. Certainly up into preseason, up to into camp, because that's the whole point, right? The whole point is to let them mentor them, show them the ropes. But you're also kind of up against it because you do have to see what you have in the quarterback. So you have to give at least Deckers, Shough, and Rattler a chance to show you what they have going on. And potentially, if you watch them, it might be like, you know what, they're fine. Right? They're good. We're not worried about this. If you should be able to tell pretty quick, I think. And then if you can tell immediately, then it's okay. Let's get a guy in here as quick as possible, because you're not bringing them into. Who was it last year? Was it Nathan Peterman they brought in? And that's what we said. It's like he's probably not even going to throw. Like they don't care about him throwing. They don't care about him competing or whatever. They just care about him kind of being a vet, showing them some things, whatever. So I would think they'll make the decision relatively quick. But it completely hinges on how the young players get started. And you should be able to see it. I mean, we can't, but they should be able to see it pretty quick.
Yeah, I mean, I don't really know how to answer that. It's May, it's not.
It's a hypothetical of a hypothetical. It's like, what is the hypothetical timeline of you bringing in a hypothetical veteran? It's like, well, where do you even start? Where do you even start with that question?
Right after the season, and
answer.
there's not a lot of free agents out there, so it's just different.
How closely are you starting to work with Kellen, develop that relationship and input that you're giving him as he establishes things?
Yeah, I think it's been great so far. It's been fantastic, as a matter of fact. He's really open, collaborative, and I think it's been fantastic. I mean, we speak several times every day, and
get me in the group chat.
It's been really good, understanding
oh my God.
His philosophies and some of the things that he wants to do. So it's been fantastic.
Can I ask one question? Do you have a friendship and a relationship with Joe Dumars? How is that now that he's in the building talking to him, and just that you all are working, not together, but in a capacity?
Yeah, it's, first of all, Joe Dumars is fantastic. I haven't had a lot of conversations with him. I've had a couple, but he's kind of hit the ground running and had a lot to do, has a lot on his plate. And so he's over there, doing those things, doing his thing. And but look, he's fantastic, and I'm glad we're lucky to have him.
The Shaq-a-ronies.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, trivia question before we end the video. It's not about the Shaq-a-roni. Trivia question. Since 2000, where do the New Orleans Saints rank in wins in the NFL? 1 through 32. Since the year 2000, so 25 years, couple years before Breeze, couple years after Breeze. Where do you think the Saints rank in wins? Go ahead and put it in the comments below. See if you get this one right. They are 9th. Did you get it correct? It is Patriots, Steelers, Packers, Ravens, Eagles, Colts, Chiefs, Seahawks, and then the New Orleans Saints, 9th. So they are top 10. Did you get it right? Did you get it wrong? Are you surprised? Are you surprised some teams aren't on here? Are you surprised the 49ers, maybe the Rams? The Rams had a really solid, late 90s. Then, of course, recently, are you surprised they didn't climb the ranks? Are you surprised maybe the Cowboys, the Broncos, or Bills, Falcons, some of those teams weren't in the top 10? The New Orleans Saints, 9th in the amount of wins since 2000. Interesting stuff. So they are 225 and 179 with no ties since 2000 in the last 25 years. Pretty interesting. So just something to think about. All right, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for watching. I'll see you in the next video.